Welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast, where we interview some of the most interesting people that have said yes to opportunities in their life. We hope that through these stories, you can learn to create your own destiny by saying yes along the way. Join us as we explore the new series covering topics such as passion, integrity, and hard work. I'm your host, Jim Riley, and I hope you enjoy these interviews as much as I do. I believe that everyone has an important message worth hearing. Hello and welcome to the Answer Yes podcast. Hey, this week I had Shaheen Cheyenne on the show, who made a fortune in Amazon. And I just love that angle because, when you start digging in these little holes to find ways to make a little revenue, especially in a post-COVID era, there's so many great ways to bring that extra income to your household or your main income. And Shaheen talks all about that. I know I just connected a bunch of links to some books on my websites where I'll earn a little percentage of those royalties. And it's just a small thing, but they all add up over time. Today I have Brad Sugars on the line from Las Vegas. Brad, welcome to the show.
G'day, good to be here, Jim.
Dude, I know that you're going to motivate my listeners to make a difference in their life. Not many people can say, one of the top influencers in the world. And looking at your background, you certainly fit that bill.
Well, when we started the business coaching industry back in 1993, little did we realize where it would go to. And today, we're lucky enough to have offices in 83 countries around the world, just over 1,100 offices around the world right now. And, coaching business and wealth and success, doing that, I guess it's more fun to say I do that in 3 communist countries as well, the Vietnam, China, I get to, and Russia, we coach people to be business people. So I think that's a lot of fun. We're pretty lucky that we got where we are. I think it came down to a simple thing: build a great team, and they build a great business for you.
It's interesting. I'm just listening to you talk and tell about how many places you're in. 1,100 offices around the world, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm not Joe Rogan running a podcast here, and you're making time for me. But what that proves, people at the top are not afraid to grind out the work every single day. It all matters, and I think that's a building block that a lot of people forget about.
Oftentimes people forget that, and when you look at any market, any particular business, anything that you're in, influence is not built by building like my podcast. Doing my podcast is great. The people that know me listen to me. Where influence is built is by speaking with people who have different points of view and different ways of thinking, and having a chat with them and seeing where there's congruency, where there's things that come together. And I've looked at your stuff and listened to 3 or 4 of your podcasts in the last couple of days and sitting there thinking about so many different things. You mentioned the Amazon podcast. I was literally chatting to my 19-year-old daughter about that the other day. She's in college. I said, well, if you want to make some extra money, follow this simple system. Find something, put it on Amazon, sell it for more than you buy it for, drop ship it, and you're away and racing. But it's that entrepreneurial thinking. At age 13, I remember as a kid, we moved from Darwin in Australia to Adelaide. And in Darwin, it's like tropical all year round. So you wear a pair of shorts. Adelaide, it's freezing cold in the winter. And you had to wear long pants. And the cool thing here, I'm going to date myself. The cool thing at the time was Levi's 501 jeans.
Yeah.
And my mom didn't believe in cool. She believed in what we could afford, which was corduroy jeans from Kmart. And that led me to getting in like fights at school and stuff. And I remember going home one day, grabbing my mom's scissors from her sewing kit and cutting them up and thinking, I'll never not have enough money to buy my own stuff again. And it was like one of those turning points in your mind where I just said, I'm just going to study and learn about money and study and learn about business and success and just keep reading. And that led me to Jim Rohn, which led me to, and here we are today. I've written 17 books on the dang subjects of business and wealth and success. So in the middle of writing another one. So,
Brad, I think the 80s were good for us. My parents shopped at Kmart too, and I wasn't going to wear that crap anymore either. I got a job and started buying stuff at Nordstrom's.
Hey, it's the way the world works. You got to get your motivation from wherever you get it from. And that's a big part of it.
You mentioned Jim Rohn, and I know that's where the story begins for you. Can you take us back to, what he said that influenced you at such a young age to pursue what you're doing today? Because this has carried you through a very long period of time.
Yeah, 3 core things that I remember from that first meeting. I was 16 years of age, Brisbane City Town Hall. about 1,700 people in the audience. It was $600. And at 16 years of age, that was a ton of money. It was every single dollar I had to go see him. But he said three things. He said, never wish your life were easier, wish that you were better. And so I still work today to, business doesn't get easier. You got to get better at business. Money doesn't get easy. You got to get better at money. Parenting doesn't get easy. You got to get better at parenting. Whatever it is, it's not going to get easier. You just got to get better at it. Second thing he said, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Now, that one took me a little while to really grasp, to understand that if I got better, life got easier. No more complex than that. But at 16, I didn't quite grab that because a little bit of arrogance at 16, I guess I probably had. And then the third thing, I ran down to him after the event and had him sign my notes, and which was fun because at 31, I went back I was the opening act for him in the Sydney Convention Center, 5,000 people. And I showed him my notes from then. And he said, I said, Mr. Rohn, these are my notes from when I was 16. You signed them here. And he said, oh, great. Please call me Jim. I said, yes, Mr. Rohn. Some people earn that right. And he said, I said, what's one thing I can do at 16 to guarantee I'll be successful for the rest of my life? He said, son, real simple. Read a book a week for the rest of your life. Not a book a month, not a book every 2 days, but a book a week, every week for the rest of your life. And I just continued to do that. And today, actually, I joke because Jim said no one can do your reading for you. And now you have Audible and Headway, and they do your reading for you. So it's pretty good. But for all your podcast listeners, there's 17 of my books. So that gets you next 17 weeks. Good. Go to Amazon, buy them there. Yeah, excellent.
Nothing wrong with that.
Jim can give you a link and take a few pennies along the way. Good stuff. Excellent. There's your affiliate code, Jim.
That's right. You better believe I'm going to do it too.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Well, so here you are, young. You start working in this sector. How do you build your business? What are the steps to build your business? Like, who's going to listen to me? I'm a kid or I'm a young adult. I haven't done anything yet. How do you establish that?
Well, you use your disadvantage to your advantage. I was young, so make that front and center. Don't make that the background. I mean, you sit back and look at it. You look at when you were with In-N-Out Burger, use your disadvantage to your advantage. Not open on Sundays. Great. Let's use that to our advantage. Let's appeal to all the people that matter with that sort of thing. Here I was young. You had to promote the fact that you were young and successful. You had to promote that fact. You don't hide it. You use it to the front and center and turn that into the thing that you do it. But the real thing was marketing, simple marketing. I looked at what everyone else was doing in the business arena. And there's all these people running seminars and charging you $100 to go to an evening seminar, all that sort of thing. Well, I went out and got sponsors and I did it for free. I got the News Suburban Network. I got More FM Radio in New Zealand. I got them to sponsor my events. I put it on for free. I did 288,000 people through free events in 2 years' time. And I sold 14% of them into a weekend workshop, and I sold about 11% of them into one-to-one coaching. So, it's you go out and everyone else wants to offer it for money. I just gave it away. It's like doing podcasts like this. Why do I give away my knowledge? Real simple, because then people get an instinct and they go, yeah, look, actually, I like this guy's stuff. Maybe I will buy a book, or maybe I will go on his online trainings, or maybe do you know what I mean? You got to get marketing. And I'm first and foremost a marketer, Jim. That's what I am. Number one, if you look up what I do, it's about marketing.
Yeah. It's interesting. A lot of people don't grasp that give it away aspect of the business, right? Because really that's the door opener right there. They're so quick I got to earn $1 for every last thing I do. And they completely skip over that.
I wonder if I have, I think I gave it away. I wrote a book called Buying Customers, and Buying Customers is all about the aspect of you got to invest money to buy a customer. So if you spend $1,000 on advertising, you get 10 new customers, cost you $100 to buy each one. Well, the way you make money is by getting more than $100 back from the $100 you invested. And so I learned that. I had a dog food business in the early 2000s, and we had to buy 60 customers a week for every van we put on the road. And if you bought 120 customers, you got too many, your customer service was bad. If you only bought 30 customers, you didn't make any money. So you had to buy 60 customers. So it was really about marketing, starting with how many customers do you need to buy per week? And everyone says, oh, as many as I can get. And that's not true, because your customer service diminishes and your cash flow can't handle as many customers as I can get. So we started buying customers at the right rate, and you work backwards. And I worked out, well, it cost me at those days, it cost me $24 to buy a customer. And the average first sale to a customer made me $38 profit. So 24 out, 38 in, and they stayed for a lifetime of buying. It was like I was a genius at marketing at that point in time, all because I learned the numbers and the math. You know, I'm an accountant by training. So an accountant becomes a marketer. You got to, marketing became math all of a sudden. And it's, if the money works, everything works. So yeah.
Well, you got to know your numbers. It's interesting. I was talking to Sean Whalen a couple weeks ago. He's an influencer in the industry. He's going to start a box club, right? Book, box of the month. And he's like, it's going to be $49. He's like, but what we're going to do, and I love this. He says it's fine to steal other people's ideas. He says we're going to use the golden ticket idea from Willy Wonka. Some of these boxes are going to have a golden ticket in there. It'll be 10 for the year. Those 10 people are going to come to Utah to his offices, and one of those 10 is going to win his Lamborghini. And people are flipping out like, oh my God, how's he going to do that? It's a $250,000 car. But I guarantee you, he knows the numbers. He's done the accounting, and he's probably reinvesting 20% of what he's going to make to get all those customers. There's no way he's not going to sell over millions of dollars worth of boxes. That Lamborghini is chump change at the end of the day.
Yeah, and the free marketing they'll get from it. When you sit down and you look at paying for $1 million worth of marketing or $250,000 worth of marketing for the Lamborghini versus getting $250,000 worth of free marketing, 6 of one, half dozen the other. I think, though, that if you look at a lot of people when they come back to it, when it comes to marketing and using the philosophy of your podcast, most people look at marketing and say, no, we can't afford that. Whereas what you've got to do is look at marketing and say, we can't afford not to. You have to say yes to marketing. The question is, what marketing works for you? And you have to test and measure. 8 out of 10 marketing campaigns will fail. 80% of marketing is just complete failure. It just is. So spend $100 learning what's a failure and $100 learning what works. And so you spend $1,000 on 10 campaigns, and then the 2 that work, you keep running them, and it's not that complex when you understand that testing and measuring is the key fundamental behind great marketing.
Brad, let's talk about you specifically for a minute. What has been some of the greatest joys in your career as you've progressed through the years? And I know you've got a family, so that's going to take, that's going to be at the top. But just what about
career?
Yeah, so what about career points there?
My biggest joy in my career is watching my people grow. As a business owner, I own, 11 companies right now. I run 11 companies. I run them in 2 days a week, and I do things like this, the podcasts and content creation and writing the other 3 days a week. And hang with my kids mostly. I don't work between, I start work at 9 because I drop the kids at school, and I finish work at 3 because the kids get home from school. Other than the college kids, then I got to just try and find a way to text them. They don't speak on the phone. You got to text.
Right.
But career-wise, it's really about building the humans in my organization and watching those humans and sitting back and seeing people who've been with me 20 plus years in business. That to me is the joy of it. I look at the people who've been with me for their lifetime. And literally yesterday, a team member of mine who came to me at the end of 2020 and said, listen, I'm going to go off. I want to do this thing. I want to try this and do this on my own. She started back with me again yesterday because she goes off and she finds that the culture in other companies just isn't the same. She finds that she doesn't get appreciated the way she does where we work. And with ActionCOACH, what we do is we build humans and they build the business. So that plus probably my first $1 million day. First day I made $1 million, in one transaction. That to me, because I always set that goal. When you're young and you say, I want to be a millionaire. And that was sort of like $1 million net worth or made $1 million total in your lifetime. And then it was like, okay, I've done that. What can I do? What about $1 million in a year? Let's make $1 million in a year. And then it was like, okay, let's do $1 million in a month. And then it was like, all right, how could we make $1 million in a day?
Yeah.
And people want to, they hear that story and they go, yeah, I want to make $1 million in a day. Whoa. Start with $1 million in your lifetime so far, or $1 million don't go to the Ferrari or the Lamborghini when you don't even own the Toyota yet. Just start with the thing,
Hey, you're human like the rest of us listening to the show. When somebody hears, and this is my interview with you, not myself, so I'm not going to answer it. When somebody hears you're running 11 companies, how is that even physically possible? How do you do that?
Well, it's actually very, very simple. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, there is a methodology for building a business. Okay, so when we had coached 13,000 companies to success, this was the original version, the self-published original version, the business coach. I wrote the system for how we grow companies.